We're white girls married to white guys in suburbia.
Yeah.
So how do we even have a right to talk about this stuff?
Trigger warning.
Trigger warning. We'll be talking about tolerance across the board.
Race,
Yes.
religion.
Race, religion, sexual orientation, all of it. Just know that. But we would like to talk about it. So, welcome back to Mommin It Up. We're switching it up today. We're just sitting at the table having a chit chat. Welcome to the soda session.
Soda session.
Do it. Boom. Yeah. So based off of one of our other videos, I really had this thought that I want to talk about teaching kids tolerance and how do you do that? How does that happen? I was not raised with a whole lot of tolerance. I was raised with almost a prejudice way of thinking. And as I've gotten older, I'm like
kind of shocked
and hurt and upset. And yeah, I just remember so many things like being said growing up. I'm just like, whew. And not, but one of the things was like dating someone outside of your race, like that was bad. Mm-hmm. Like you're not made to do that. And now I'm just like, what does it even matter? And we're white girls married to white guys in suburbia.
Yeah.
Like
conservative religion.
Yeah. So how do we even have a right to talk about this stuff? But I think we are the people, like, we can either create the problem or help solve it.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm trying to make sure that, like, I help solve it. I want my kids to be accepting and love everybody. And it's still, like, because this is, like, first generation trying to do this, I don't have the tools to do it. So I'm trying to, like, figure it out. Like, and so I've really tried my best to make sure that I teach my children tolerance. Anybody that's different from you, that doesn't make them, like, everyone's different. Yeah, just because you don't do things the same way doesn't mean that you're better or that they are better. Everybody's just different. And I think this applies, like, to moms too. Everybody does they have their own thing. They have their own way of doing things. And
different strokes for different folks.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
And so I wanted to talk a little bit, or like broach the subject of teaching our kids tolerance and get some feedback from you on how you teach your kids tolerance.
Yeah. Because
I think it's an important thing.
Yeah.
So,
it's huge.
So it doesn't seem like you grew up with, I mean, I know, like, growing up in a mostly white neighborhood or whatever, you might have a little bit of it, but, like, it doesn't seem like you were, I don't know, like, did you grow up with any type of prejudice or
so
underlined maybe
a little bit? When I remember distinctly when I was a teenager and I had started dating, I was really shocked when my dad told me that he would be disappointed if I brought an African-American boy home.
Yeah.
Like if I was dating an African-American boy. And this came about because I was dating a Hispanic boy. And he was tolerant, but he was like, I just hope you don't marry one. And I was like, whoa. Oh.
Yeah.
What
is that?
And he didn't pass it on to me. Like, I didn't even know he felt that way. And this is when I'm like 16, 17. So he had never given any indication of prejudice that way until I'm dating, and he realizes obviously who you date is who you marry,
right.
You know? And so he tried to have a talk with me, and I just remember being like, Dad, I don't even think about that. Like, I really don't. Yeah. Like, I mean, I dated all sorts of guys, you know, and I was just so shocked. And
you see how stupid that is, though? Like, you have black skin, so you can't date me.
Yeah, I know.
Like, you're
Tell
tan.
me about it. I was super, super shocked. I don't know. It's just different. I don't know.
It's different generations.
I don't know where
my mom used to say the same thing. And father.
I was super shocked, and it was a learning experience for everyone involved. Trust me, because I had a few words to say about it. And don't even worry. I went and dated all sorts so he could get used to it.
Yeah, that's good.
Anyone outside of our religion, right?
Yeah.
They were that is where prejudice came in. Yes. And I very much noticed that. And me being as rebellious as I was, I dated a lot of people not in my religion. I remember bringing home a guy saying I was in love with him and he was Greek Orthodox. And it was really hard for my parents. really hard. And I don't even know that I did it on purpose. I mean, I did it in a way. I don't know if I sought people out because I was like, I just wanted to prove to them they are just as good. And this guy was great. And it only didn't work out because I kept talking to him about my church, and like he thought I was trying to convert him, and I totally wasn't.
They always do.
I totally wasn't. But like he was like scared, and so yeah, we broke up. But
sorry, guy.
I didn't realize that was there, and it's definitely a lot more of the older generation. But it's getting. You just need to be so much more open, and I don't ever want my kids like I don't pull the whole. Like my parents did, like you can't play with them if they don't go to church. I don't do that, you know, and that's pretty extreme, and that is
because
just,
why? Like I get the whole like your friends,
lead
you know,
yeah, for good or for bad.
Yes, exactly. So your friends, and I hear this all the time. So I'm just like, that is true, but hold on, like, so someone's sad and because they don't go to church, you're not allowed to be their friend. Like, what about, like, that makes no sense. Like, some girl sitting there has no friends, but you're not allowed to be her friend because she doesn't go to church.
Yeah, I would never, and I have to be honest with you, some of the worst people I've ever met in my life go to church. So that doesn't, unfortunately, that doesn't guarantee that it's a decent person either. Yeah. So I try and teach my kids to be around people that make them better people, like make them feel good. And I don't care if they're hanging out with people from a different religion, like, but they need to be a good example because my son has hung out with kids even in church that are really bad examples, have maybe, you know, like so the other day I took one swimming and everyone said thank you, and Kaden even said, hey, you know, Tyler, aren't you gonna say thank you? And this kid was like, no, it's my birthday, I deserve to go with you. I just remember I was like, Kaden, I'm not ever taking that kid to go do anything again. I said, I don't like the way he talked to you. Like, no. And then, like, I don't like that he wasn't respectful to me. Mm-hmm. And I said, I'm sorry. And Kaden will go play with him, but Kaden knows I will never take him to go do anything anymore. Mm-hmm. You know, like, it's all about manners and respect and what brings out, just what you said, what brings out the best in you, what leads you for good. That is more what I try and look at.
Right, if they're a good example to your kid. Yeah. That's a huge thing. The example that they set for your kid, and like, because they do, like, like Addie will come home, like say something and I'm just like, what? Like, so they totally rub off, even though they know like what's good or bad, they still like,
it's what they're around.
Yes. And so that is true. But we've also like had numerous talks in depth about making sure that we play with everybody, and as long as they're a good person and they're nice, like, you can be friends with. It's hard because you can have your values, and we have our values of what's right and what's wrong, and still it's hard to be able to teach. Like, it's confusing to teach a child, okay, this is what we believe, but even though someone else doesn't believe that, doesn't mean that you don't need to be kind or tolerant of them or
you're not
understand.
Better. Because I do think kids, it's very just, I don't know, it's very easy for them. There's no gray. It's kind of black and white. And it's like, well, this is what I think. Like, why don't you think what I think? Well, that's dumb. Yeah. But I feel like kids are definitely more accepting. Like, okay, like, I guess, I think they can be taught that way easier than adults, of course.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. So how do you find that balance of teaching your child your beliefs, but to be accepting and kind to other people
of all
beliefs? Because nobody, like, there are some people, okay, obviously, like, we believe in God, right? There's some people who don't believe in God at all, and so I find it like to be a hard balance of teaching them this is what mommy believes, and you know, other people don't believe that. It doesn't make them right or wrong or bad or good or anything. So that's, I don't know, like, but not in a demeaning way, like, yeah, some people do that. Some people, but just like, have to just understand that everybody is different.
Like a real way.
Yeah. Like, then that's, they are.
It's their choice.
Like, matter of fact, almost.
Yeah, my kids ask me about, well, they heard at school that they're like, did you know that Ellen is married to a woman? You know, and that's coming out with my 8-year-old. And I'm like, yeah, women can marry each other. Men can marry each other now. And it's like, it's going to be okay. Because it blew their minds, you know. And I kind of have to do this with our situation, right? Because our homes are very different. The good thing about like our religion, right, is to love everyone. And that's why I try and teach my kids. And even my kids have said like, well, you know, like our mom doesn't go to church. And I'm like, yeah, it's fine. Like, you know, like it really is fine. I don't go to church sometimes. Like, doesn't make any difference.
Right.
It doesn't make someone better or worse. Like,
go
I go for me.
Yes.
I don't go for you.
Yes.
And I don't go to look better to people. Like,
Right.
that's how it should be. Well, and I believe if you teach your kids their morals, they come up with their own set of morals, right? Like, whether they're borrowed from you or just what they've grasped their whole life. Like, then I just feel like it sorts itself out.
Well, it's their choice.
Yeah, if you teach them, then they will, I don't know. You just teach them the best you can and teach them to be good people, and
Right.
and then I believe that they will, you know,
Figure
hopefully
it
they will.
out. Yeah. If you
There's
teach
not.
it, if you preach it, and you're the example of tolerance, hopefully they will be the same way.
Yeah, they can't.
Right?
You
That's
can't make
with any
them
parenting
be
thing.
anything. Can you? Tell me.
So here's this then. What is tolerance? What is tolerance, and where
Does it begin and end?
yeah, where does it begin and end? And I think tolerance goes both ways too. Like, I may have a thought, a feeling, an opinion, a moral, whatever you want to call it, about certain things, and I would like the same respect of being like offered back to me, that it's okay for me to live my life just as it's okay for you to live your life.
Yes.
And I'm not a bad person or a bigot or closed-minded or anything else because I have a certain thought or feeling about it. That's what tolerance is. It's like, everyone is different. Like you said, different strokes for different folks. Everybody has their own thing. And tolerance is being tolerant and understanding of that. Not exactly what they're doing,
Right.
but that it's right for them.
And they're happy.
And they're happy.
And they're doing something that makes them happy.
Yeah.
Some things that I'm like, I can't. Like, I will never be tolerant of child abuse, right? Like, I won't ever be disrespectful, like, to people, but I will not say, good on you for beating your children. Good on you for breaking their arms.
No, I'll stand up for that. If there's something wrong, like really wrong, like not an opinion or like, you
Like
know,
action,
your belief,
like-
but yes, if there's something wrong, I will say something.
That sounds like a New Yorker thing.
It is a New Yorker thing.
What are you doing? You want to play
Get your hands off back here! Pick on somebody your own size.
They're like, what? What you say? Jersey.
Joyzy. Audience, followers, subscribers, how do you teach tolerance? How do you teach tolerance to your kids? This is a legitimate question we want to know. Like, we're trying to better ourselves as moms too, but also
We're not
other people
perfect.
read the comments. And so how? Teach us. Teach. If you're especially in a circumstance where you feel like you haven't had that luxury of being accepted or tolerated, I guess would be the word,
Yeah.
by other people, which is a stupid word, tolerated. Like, oh, I'll just tolerate you. How about you love the person? How about you accept them for them? How about you say, yep, they're doing their own thing. They're a good person. That's all that matters. Like,
It's a novel idea.
yeah. We're just going to tolerate you though, okay? We're going to tolerate your blonde hair. So please tell us what you think, how you handle certain situations with your kids, teaching tolerance on everything across the board. How do you teach your kids to love everybody and accept them for who they are?
It doesn't sound difficult, but it's harder.
It is.
It's harder than you think.
Like, it has to be a conscious, like, thought out, methodical way of parenting. And
Conscious parenting.
Yep. Go ahead and subscribe. Like this if we're on the right path. If this is stuff you want to hear about or talk about, let us know. I know, but I do feel like because we're white girls that we're married white guys, we don't have a leg to stand on. But at the same
we
time,
can.
I feel like those are the people that should be talking about this. Like,
Yeah. Those are the people that have the biggest problems.
problems. Yeah. So true.
I'm gonna drink, huh?